Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are officially kicking off our social distance stargazing for September 12, 2020. And I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited that it's finally fall and I can start breaking out the sweaters. So, for the evening, or for the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to be looking at Saturn. And the reason why we'll be looking at Saturn is because when I tried to focus on Jupiter, it looked like one big blob. And at least with Saturn, you can see the ring. If anybody can't see the ring, please let me know, and I will try to focus this as best as possible. Some of that shaking that you're seeing right now is due to the wind, because it's a little breezy out here. But I love it because it's fall. It's sweater weather. So I know that we were supposed to get started at 8:30, but I just decided to jump in because I was already set up and everything's nice and prepped and ready. So tonight I just wanted to talk about a little bit about Saturn, excuse me, and some upcoming stuff that we have happening globally. Oh, my apologies. I'm sipping my coffee and a little bit got caught down the wrong pipe. Ooh, sorry about that again. So, the first thing that I wanted to talk about, that I'm probably going to reiterate later on in the session as more people join, would be this current issue that seems to be cropping up with some of the events that I post on Facebook. So if for anybody that doesn't know, I do have a website, and it is kuipercat.org. And it's basically a quick list of any events that I have popping up for the next couple of weeks, different events that might be going on around the 5 boroughs and in general, especially NASA-related events. And it's just a one-stop shop for everything that I post, right? But I also, of course, do my live streams through Instagram, just because most people have Instagram, and I find Instagram Live to be a pretty efficient tool to do sidewalk astronomy. I mean, when I started doing this back in April, I had hoped that it would be temporary, but since COVID is with us, long term, it grew into a thing, and I'm happy to keep doing it through Instagram Live. But I also, share my events on not just Instagram Live, on Facebook and on Twitter and on Tumblr and Pinterest and Reddit. I'm all over the place. At TikTok, I don't even know how to use TikTok, but I have one. Hopefully my niece and nephew will show me how. And unfortunately, what I've run into lately are a bunch of random bots stealing my content and passing it off as their own on Facebook, which sucks. But I did want to address that. If you happened to come here from Facebook, and maybe you were confused about whether or not it was being posted on Facebook or if it was posted on Instagram, all of my events are shared on Instagram Live, just because it's easy, it's cheap, meaning that it's free, and it's just super quick to use because, again, most people have Instagram. And so if you ever see an event that is shared by me on Facebook, just know that I'm just cross-posting so that this way you can know exactly when and what day that I'm doing a live stream. But if you see something that looks like it's mine but it wasn't posted by me, please don't click on it or don't visit the page or anything like that. There have been some bad actors, I guess you could say, that have those, click here to view, and then it asks for your credit card information. I never charge for anything that I do. This is all completely free and open to the public. Even when I do in-person events where I set up a telescope at a park or on a street corner, it's always free. I don't take any money for this. I do it because I enjoy doing it. I do it because I enjoy seeing the look on people's faces when they see Saturn for the first time through a telescope. That gives me personal joy. And so as a result, I do not charge for this, and I don't intend to. So if you happen to see something that is asking for money, it is not me, I assure you. The only time you would ever see something that I would be associated with that may be asking for money is if I was doing something with a museum and the museum has an entrance fee. That's literally it, nothing else. So that said, and hopefully we'll get back to doing museum observing in 2021, who knows. But that said, this is Saturn, yay! So Saturn, of course, is the reigning champion, the reigning moon champ in our solar system with 82 moons, long surpassing Jupiter. I think Jupiter's last count was about 62 or 67, or maybe 72. I think I made up that number. I think it was 72 moons. But Saturn has long surpassed that, and it keeps growing, which is cool. It seems like every other month we're finding, new moon or moonlets that have become trapped in Saturn's orbit. And it used to be, or it still kind of is because Jupiter's so large, that we used to call, or I used to refer to Jupiter as the solar system's vacuum cleaner, because it captures a lot of these larger objects before it makes it toward the inner solar system. And it seems like Saturn is doing a pretty good job. So Saturn, we can call Saturn the Roomba of the solar system now. If Jupiter is an old upright, then Saturn is a Roomba. So so I just wanted to come out. Of course, the weather was looking pretty dicey. If some of you that have been with me for a few weeks now know that I've been shuttered out, unfortunately, due to the weather for several weeks. There was one week where the weather was perfect, but Instagram wasn't working. And then I had 2 solid back-to-back events that were canceled due to the forecast. So I'm happy that tonight worked out. And hopefully, fingers crossed, our next event, which I'm actually very excited about, September 26th, will be nice and clear too. So September 26th is International Observe the Moon Night. This is an event that happens globally, and anybody can participate. And each one of these events is hosted by an amateur astronomer or by a public observatory like Adler Observatory in Chicago. All it is it's all about the moon, right? So we're talking about the composition, the look, different missions to the moon, or just appreciating the moon, for its beauty, and a lot of things that were, a lot of art that we have in our culture, influenced by the moon. So International Observe the Moon Night, it's an all-day thing, and it really is, it's not really just one day, it's more like a whole week. And that starts or kicks off the week of the 26th. So right as first quarter, or that first waxing crescent starts. So I believe that is the 20th or so, or just before the 20th of September. So I definitely encourage you to visit moon.nasa.gov. So that's moon, like our moon, .nasa.gov. And on that page, as soon as you open it up, it's going to give you this cool interactive map of the moon. And then you should be able to not just examine that interactive map and play with it. It works best on a desktop, by the way. You can also pull up any events that are near you. So even if you're not in New York, even if you're not in the United States, pull up an event on this website and this way you can participate whether in person or virtually. I, of course, will be doing the virtual thing with the stargazing sessions that I host now, but you may be able to, depending on, of course, COVID and different restrictions based on your state, you may be able to participate in an in-person event if one is hosted by you. So I absolutely advise you to check out moon.nasa.gov for International Observe the Moon Night. And that the main date is September 26th, but you can participate basically any time this month as the moon is waxing or waning, depending on what time you get out there and get a telescope set up. So I will be doing that the Saturday after next, I believe is the 26th. So September 26th. And that event is, of course, on my website on kuipercat.org. I will also, of course, post it on Instagram, and it will be on the Kuiper Cat's Astronomy Facebook page if you all have Facebook. So yeah, we'll be talking a little bit about that. If the weather cooperates even earlier in the day, we'll be able to possibly look at Jupiter and Jupiter's moons, and we could talk a little bit about not just our moon, but the moons in our solar system. Especially some of the larger ones like Titan and Ganymede and Io and Callisto. So it's a very, very cool event. And also on moon.nasa.gov, there are also a lot of downloadables. So if you have littles, if you have kids, you can download some of these color-in lunar maps that you can play with the kids. You can set up your own lunar calendar. And all that takes is a couple of sheets of paper that you just print out. They have a ton of interactive stuff for kids. If you have, kids, if you have grandkids, and maybe they're getting back to school, so they're hitting that grind of doing either in-person or virtual learning, and maybe they just want a little bit of a break. You can give them some moon stuff to play with, and then also, of course, they have those interactive maps. And in the image gallery, I believe there are even some 3D maps too. So if you have 3D glasses at home, you can use these 3D glasses to view these lunar maps. And it gives you that sense of, just a little bit of a sense of the topography of the moon, which is super cool. I wish I could show you the moon tonight, but that's going to have to wait until the end of the month because the moon does not come up, I think, until probably 2 a.m. right now, or just after 2 a.m. This is Saturn. Yes, we are looking at Saturn tonight. I was trying to look at Jupiter, but it came out a little too fuzzy. But with Saturn, of course, you can sort of make out the ring. I do have it zoomed in on Instagram. I wish Instagram allowed you to play with the white balance, but Instagram Live does not allow you to do that. So hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Instagram, get on it. It would be great to be able to kind of do some color correcting on this, but I can't. So, but yes, that is Saturn. You are seeing Saturn. You are seeing the rings. If you turn up the brightness on your phone and you look at the image, you can kind of make out that division between the rings and the planet itself. If I zoom it in, it becomes a little blurry, so I don't want to zoom it in too much. So this is like the image actual. When I zoom it in, it looks a little bit like that. And unfortunately, the wind is kind of not kicking up, but it is a little windy where I am. And so the wind is making the telescope vibrate as well. Unfortunately, nothing I can control. So International Observe the Moon Night, September 26th, mark it on your calendar. And then we have some other cool stuff coming up too. Another cool event that's happening next month, October 31st, of course, is Halloween. And it is going to be the first full moon since 2001. And so hopefully we'll be able to do a Halloween live stream session on that night, and with the full moon, of course, in the view of the telescope. And I do have a couple of fun little tricks I'm waiting to do with you all. I'm very excited because, of course, it's Halloween. What's not to be excited about? So those are just some of the things to look forward to. But for now, I did want to come out and, of course, show everyone Saturn. So, very recently, I somehow hit a grand total of over now, because I was waiting, over 1,000 followers. So thank you guys so much. I do appreciate all of your your positive feedback and words, and even the criticisms. I take it too. I really do appreciate that you guys are super into it, and that you guys tune in. Anytime I get a chance to do this. It's super nice and super cool that you all join in. It does mean a lot to me, so I really wanted to say thank you all for tuning in and sticking with me as long as you have over the last few months. And if I don't know if I can do any additional content, but I am working on a couple of things and kicking around a couple of things that I wanted to maybe start ushering in as the weather gets a little cooler, just because it gets darker earlier, and so I'll also be starting to do these sessions a little bit earlier, especially like toward November. They'll be closer to 6 p.m. than they will be around 8 p.m. But yeah, I'm looking forward to keeping this up into 2021. And hopefully by 2021 we can also get back to in-person observing too. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing the virtual. So I did want to say thank you all for tuning in. It's really cool. So tonight, what telescope am I using? I am using my big boy. I am using my Celestron 6 SE telescope that I dragged all the way from my house out to my undisclosed location. And that's why I'm able to get a better view than I would with the smaller telescope that I typically use. So this is the Celestron 6 SE. And of course I have the cell phone mounted to the eyepiece so that this way we can stream. And I actually am using, it's a little shield called a dew shield. I am using that tonight. It's probably contributing to some of the vibration because of the wind, but I am right under a ton of street lights, so it's blocking out a lot of that light pollution. So it's better to keep it on than to take it off. Taking a sip of my coffee. So I came out, this was the same location I used over a month ago, or just about a month ago, and there was some live music happening at the restaurant sort of adjacent to where I am, and unfortunately it doesn't look like they're doing it tonight, and I'm kind of bummed out because the music was, the music added a little flavor to the live stream, but we just have the sweet sounds of traffic happening. If you guys are lucky, you'll hear a bus. Yeah, and the power lines. No, I'm in a good spot this time. No power lines for the foreseeable hour, thankfully. So Saturn and Jupiter, if clear skies by you, if you look up and you look toward the south, they're right in the night sky, super high and bright. You can't miss them at all if the weather's good. You should see Jupiter would be the super, super bright one, and then the semi-bright one right behind it toward the left, if you're facing south, would be Saturn. Yeah, and hopefully, the last live stream session, and if you go into my Instagram, if you go into the history on Instagram, like some of those posts, you can find, the archived live stream sessions as well. But yeah, last time we did look at the moon. We were cut by some power lines, but hopefully at the end of the month, that won't happen. At the end of the month, I may have to contend with some trees due to where I'm going, but hopefully it won't be too bad. Yeah, you know what? The clouds and the power lines were actually kind of cool. It definitely added a certain element to the New York City experience to to the live stream. I am next time I'll be in Brooklyn actually doing this, and I'll be with my astronomy club. So if you're in the 5 boroughs, I like to give these guys a shout out. If you're in the 5 boroughs and you want to do more astronomy with more people, the Astronomy Club is the Amateur Astronomers Association of New York, or AAA.org. They are also on Instagram as well, and that would just be AAA, the word DOT. It's in org, and so AAA.org, and you'll be able to find them, and they're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and they have, of course, their own website. And so if you're in the 5 boroughs, definitely check them out. If you're in New Jersey, the United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey, so UACNJ, they are also on Facebook and Instagram. So if you're in New Jersey, definitely check them out. They are having, with reservations, they are doing in-person lectures and talks and observing. And they are based out of Hope, New Jersey. So if you're in the New Jersey area, definitely check them out. And but you have to reserve your spot. So don't go unannounced. Make sure that you go to the website, reserve your, and it's free, but reserve your spot, and then you can go out and you can check out their observatory. They're really cool. And so hopefully as the weather cools down, the Amateur Astronomers Association, we are doing some testing on some live in-person events, and if everything works out, then we can get back to more live in-person events. But most of us are still doing our live streams. In fact, AAA has a Thursday night. Every Thursday night, they have a live stream virtual party on Facebook Live. So again, you can check them out. That's AAA.org, or Amateur Astronomers Association of New York. So yeah, definitely check them out. So if you guys are just tuning in, we are looking at Saturn. Saturn, current moon champ 2020, with 82 moons right now confirmed. I think 56 of those 82 moons have names, and the others are just designated with numbers, but eventually they'll be named as well. So right now we are just looking at Saturn. I did try to get Jupiter. Jupiter unfortunately looked like one big old blob. It did not look very good, and so we I couldn't get it to focus the right way, especially on Instagram Live, because Instagram Live doesn't allow you to play with the white balance. So you just kind of have to look at the image, like this blurry kind of bleh image. And I'm sure it looks better, outside of the city when you're in a dark sky. But I am not outside of the city. I am in heavily light polluted Queens, and I can only hope for clear nights with no rain. Now, if we magically had a blackout, that would be okay too. Not a long one, like maybe 10 minutes. That's all I need, just to fully appreciate it, and then we can go back to normal. It's terrible. I'm always, every time the night is clear, I'm always crossing my fingers for a random, blackout in the city. Not good, but I know, yeah, exactly. Don't tempt 2020. 2020, that would happen in 2020. You're absolutely right. I definitely should not. So now there are a couple of other objects that are out right now. It is a little heavy on the light pollution, but I may try to get them toward the end of the stream. Oh, there goes that wind again. But there are a couple of other objects that are out that I may attempt to get. Hopefully the light pollution won't get in my way, but we'll give it a try anyway, right? No harm in trying. But for now, we are just looking at Saturn, and I am very excited about the International Observe the Moon Night later this month. And if you are just joining us, that will happen on September 26th. And that is a global event. That's not just a local event. So if you go to moon.nasa.gov, you'll be able to look up an event next, closest to you. Or if you have a telescope and maybe you want to get out there and share the moon with the public, you can actually sign up to be a presenter. So definitely check them out. They also have tons of downloadable content, things that you can do with the kids, and it's just a fun, cool night for everyone to enjoy. So I'm gonna bring this in toward the center just a little bit because it is drifting. Sorry about that. There's a little bit of shaking, a whole lot of shaking going on, like the song says. Sorry, that wind is picking up again, but we are looking at Saturn right now. And I'm just going to take a quick sip of my coffee because it's never too late for coffee. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and give this a whirl, and I do apologize because we may end up traveling for a few moments, but I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get us a nice cool object. See if we can get it into the center view. So we're going to take a trip, and if you can hear that buzzing, maybe not, but if you can hear that buzzing, that would be the telescope as it moves. Let's see. Oh, I was hoping we would be able to get it. It's very present, but it looks like it's not in the center of the view here. Okay, so maybe we go back to Saturn for now while I fuss with this. Oh, there goes that pesky bus. So the object that I was trying to get, but it looks like maybe the telescope is just slightly off. The object that I was trying to get was a double star called Albireo. And if I can pick it up, I may try again after the stream, and maybe I can restart it or something. So let's see if we can get this in focus. I'm going to try Jupiter again. I don't know how successful I'll get. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. I wish this did look better. It's so hard to get it into focus. If you were in person, you would be able to see, because it is clear enough, you would be able to see not just the band of Jupiter, but you would be able to see the red spot right now. But I can't mess with the white balance on Instagram Live, unfortunately. It just does not allow me to do that. But that is Jupiter in all of its glory. You can sort of kind of make out the band if you turn up the brightness on your phone. Sorry, and I know I'm asking you guys to, do this, do that. But if you turn up the brightness on your phone, you can kind of make out the bands of Jupiter. Again, it's not a great photo or a great image right now because I can only unfortunately do so much with Instagram Live. But that is Jupiter there with 3 of its 4 moons. The 4th moon is actually right off to the side there. It's just very, very faint, but you can see 3 of its 4 moons pretty prominently. Yeah, you can sort of see the red spot. It's hard to make out, but it's. I wish it did look better. It's just between doing it with the phone and then the light pollution in the area, it's just a little hard to get it to make out on Instagram Live, and then also this wind is not helping. So yeah. Hopefully at the end of the month, or maybe even next month, we'll have a better shot because it'll be a little bit colder. There won't be as much moisture in the air because that is also a contributing factor. But hopefully we'll be able to get a better view of Jupiter next month. Fingers crossed. So at the top of the stream, I did have a whole spiel that I was talking about, where there have been some instances on Facebook, because of course I have my Instagram page, I have a Facebook page. There have been some instances on Facebook where people have been stealing my content and passing it off as their own because they're jerks. And I did just want to clarify that if you see an event that is posted and it looks like me, but it isn't from the page labeled Kuiper Katz Astronomy, it is definitely not me. In addition, if you see one of my events and it's asking you for credit card information, that is definitely not me, because everything I do is free and I don't charge a dime for anything. And yes, that is Jupiter. Jetto Ray? Yes, that is Jupiter. Jupiter, and you can make out 3 of its 4 Galilean moons. I wish the contrast was a little bit better, but unfortunately Instagram Live does not allow me to update the white balance. Yeah, they've been, it sucks that people want to take the event and then do some weird ticket scam. But it is what it is. Unfortunately, I can only, handle each one that I happen to catch. There was actually 6 today alone. So I was like, well, at least I saw it on the way out, as I was leaving the house. But if you guys happen to follow me on Instagram and on Facebook, I do all of these events on Instagram Live. I do them all for free. There is no paywall or anything of that nature. It is completely open and free to the public. Even if you see me out in the street in New York City, come on up, say hello, have a look inside the telescope. That's totally cool. Like I welcome it. I encourage it. If you want to hang out, if you want to have a talk, if you want to ask questions, that's fine too. Yeah, man, people suck. I don't know. I don't know, why I was like a target. I don't know, whatever. But it's fine. As long as I can see it and catch it and deal with it, then I don't care. But it is frustrating. But yeah, so if you happen to see me out in, out in New York City, mostly in Queens, but if you happen to catch me out in the wild, feel free to come on over to the telescope and say hello and have a look. It's totally fine. So yeah, it's I don't know why people decide to, try to scam on my stuff, but whatever. But yes, you can sort of make out the 4th moon hanging on over to the side. Let's see if I can bring it in a little bit more. There we go. Okay. So now we have Jupiter, and now we have that 4th moon in that field of view. I wish the view was a little bit better between the light pollution and the moisture in the air, and Instagram Live's capabilities. I can't enhance that image, or I can't make that image look a little bit better, sadly. Every time I try it doesn't really, it just kind of bounces around and does nothing. So But yeah, so I will also, the next event that I am hosting, just so that everyone knows. Thank you. Take care. The next event that I'm hosting, so everyone knows, September 26th. I believe I'm getting started around 8 p.m. or so, or 8:30 p.m. Um, but yeah, I think it's 8:30 p.m. So yeah, September 26th, 8:30 p.m. Sorry, it's been a long day. And of course, again, it's all free. So if you ever see anything that says that you need tickets for Instagram Live, of all things, it is definitely a scam. So, don't click on it. Yeah, I may end up doing that. I may end up turning off the discussion portion of the events page just to keep people from adding those links, which would suck because I like leaving the discussion section open in case someone has a question, or if anybody does want to get a discussion started, like a topic. I like leaving that open for people to just kind of chit chat and, just chop it up and just talk about astronomy. But if it keeps up, I may just turn it off. So I am going to try one more time to get Albireo, but before I do that, I did want to go back to Saturn. Let's see. So we're going to take a quick trip. I'm going to go back to Saturn. Boom, there it is. Nice and clear right in the center too. So there you go, that's Saturn. And it's a little higher in the sky now, so you can see the rings a lot more prominently. Or rather, you can see that ring to planet definition, or that, that center. So yeah, thankfully, as it's gotten a little higher in the sky. So if you happen to be in a clear sky right now, you don't have any clouds or massive humidity, head on outside, and you can definitely see Saturn and Jupiter right now. As long as it's dark enough, depending on what time zone you're in. And it's right toward the south. You can't miss it. There's no way you can miss it. As soon as you look up, just look south, you'll see this super bright object in the night sky. That would be Jupiter. And then to the left, just a little bit higher, almost diagonal of it, that's Saturn. Why does Saturn have rings? So Saturn's rings are comprised of mainly dust and ice and dirt. And I believe the theory goes that some of these smaller objects coming in from the Kuiper Belt were ripped apart between Saturn's gravity and I believe Jupiter's gravity, and eventually the rings formed around Saturn. And Saturn's own gravity kind of keeps everything in balance. So it keeps everything like tightly compacted in those rings. If you pull up, if you go on Google and you look up the Saturn Cassini mission, there are tons of photos and actual videos of the Cassini probe as it made its approach towards Saturn just before the mission ended a few years ago. And there is this beautiful, beautiful video that was made where you can see Cassini flying around the planet and in between the rings and making these really close approaches that are just absolutely gorgeous. So that would be Cassini. So that's CASSINI Cassini mission. It was part of the Cassini-Huygens probe, and the Huygens probe actually went to Saturn's moon Titan, and we got some really nice images of Titan as well. And we're actually going back to Titan, I think, in 2032 with the Dragonfly mission. So I don't know if Dragonfly will be able to take any snaps of Saturn on the way there. I should hope it might, but it may not. So if you look up Cassini mission, just those photos are just absolutely gorgeous, insane. The one thing I wish we would do, and I know it's being talked about kind of like, in passing or in theory, back in 1977 when we launched the, was it 77 or 76? When we launched the Voyager probes, we did what was known as the Grand Tour, and the Grand Tour had this really gorgeous flyby of Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And we haven't been back to Uranus or Neptune since. And I would really like us to go back there just to have some nice high-res images. Ooh, any astronomy clubs open for viewing in South Jersey? No, unfortunately, I'm not sure about South Jersey. I would definitely check in with the folks at UACNJ, the United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey, because they are kind of a conglomerate of clubs in the area, sort of like in the tri-state, so they might have more information. But as far as any clubs in South Jersey that I know of, no, unfortunately, I have no idea. Oh, you're very welcome. Watson Davies? Absolutely. So yeah, the Cassini probe was fantastic. And I would like us to go back to the outer ice giants, back to Uranus and Neptune, because just imagine a high resolution image of these two planets. That would be fantastic. I mean, yeah, we have some current up-to-date views through Hubble, but just imagine what more we can do if we had something maybe orbiting the planet. Another good mission that's actually happening actively right now would be the Juno mission, and that's for Jupiter. And those images are ridiculously cool. And a lot of it is done with citizen science too. A lot of these images are located with NASA, and you can kind of download them and process them yourself. So if you have any experience in photo processing, they allow you to just process these images. So definitely look up Juno mission as well. Yeah, ice giants, super cool stuff. I really wish we'd go back to Uranus and Neptune. Hopefully, maybe in the 2030s they'll talk about it. Right now, of course the main focus right now is Perseverance, which is on its way to Mars, and we'll get there by mid-February of next year. But Perseverance is where it's at right now. So, and then also, speaking of Mars, coming up in the coming weeks, Mars is going to make, I guess you could say, its closest approach towards the Earth in terms of optics. It's going to be sort of, well aligned with Earth. So the images that we'll be seeing, or the viewing of Mars, will be nice and sharp and clear. If you guys happened to catch it a few nights ago, the moon and Mars were within several degrees of each other. They were very, very close to one another, optically speaking. And so if you happen to be out with a camera, or if you happen to be out with a low power telescope or binoculars, you could catch both of them in the field of view. And there are a lot of nice photos floating around out there right now after that. So be sure to look that up. I snapped a quick photo, and I actually did like a 5-minute video of the moon and Mars, because it was super late. It was almost midnight when I did it, so I didn't want to stay out too late. But I have that somewhere in my feed as well. But if you look up just those images from a few nights ago, a lot of folks took a lot of really good pictures. Most actually, that were much better than mine. But yeah, definitely check that out. And Mars in the coming weeks will just start to brighter and more red as we approach October. So yeah, you'll be able to see it nice and high in the sky. Probably, depending on where you are, probably after 10 or 11 p.m. Just start looking toward the east, and you'll catch it. Hi, Green Runner. I was waiting for you. But yeah, so right now we're just looking at Saturn. Yeah, as it gets further into fall, the clarity for the night sky gets a little bit better because it's not as humid anymore, which is why fall is the best season, hands down, second only to winter. As cold as it gets, I love it because the viewing is just phenomenal. And spring and summer suck. So, I mean, yeah, summer is great because you have like the Milky Way. But if you want some like really good viewing, fall and winter, that's the way to go. And some of the cooler stuff comes up in the winter, like, the Orion constellation. You get the winter triangle. Forget it. It's so much better. But yes, I'm doing well. No. Tonight I am on. The next event that I will be hosting is September 26th. And then after that, I have one October 9th. So, trying to do it every 2 weeks, weather permitting. I was, these last 3 sessions just did not work out. The weather was terrible. But I'm glad tonight cooperated. It was supposed to be terrible tonight as well in New York City. The forecast was for thunderstorms, and I'm glad that did not happen. So we lucked out. If I could get 6 more hours of this, just like clear sky, I'll be happy. So there's one thing that I've wanted to do over these last few weeks, months, I should say, with the live stream astronomy that I've been doing. And one of the things that I've always wanted to do for you guys is solar observing. And so the problem with solar observing, at least for me, is that in order for me to have a nice, clear, cool view for you guys to see, I would have to use my one of my smaller telescopes, and it is a white light filter, which means that you're only really seeing the surface of the sun. And by itself, it's so messed up to say, but by itself, it's actually not very impressive looking. And yeah, I mean, it's cool because you're looking at the sun, but otherwise it's not very impressive looking. It is impressive, however, when there is a sunspot on the surface of the sun, or an active area of sunspots. We are in a solar minimum right now, and so sunspots are far and few between. And I have been waiting for a nice, good day with some sunspots for months now, and it's not happening. So I'm hoping in maybe another couple of months we'll get lucky and we'll have some sunspots, and I can just set up and have, we can have an impromptu solar observing party as well. But fingers crossed, because again, it's solar minimum, so it's hard to know when you'll have that magnetic activity on the surface of the sun, so present that it becomes a sunspot and you can view it, or even a small one. I'll take a small one because the small one is, relative. It's, it's probably closer to the size of the Earth, but when you say small, it's not really small. But I would love it if I could do some solar observing with you guys, and I've just been waiting, and it's not happening. I may do it anyway, because you can at the very least see the surface of the sun. We won't see any flares, so I want to put that out there now. There will be no flares with a white light filter, but hopefully I can maybe get lucky with a sunspot. But yeah, we'll see. At the very least, we can just talk about the sun, and it'll be a daytime event. Maybe I can do it on a Sunday. Ha ha ha. But yeah, so just before Instagram kicks me out, because I have about 9 minutes or so, I did just want to thank you all for coming out. Let's see. Let's see if we can go back to Jupiter. Can we go back to Jupiter? Just before Instagram kicks me out, I did just want to thank you all for coming out. I always seem to run out of time on this thing, and let's see. Am I not seeing Jupiter? Am I not in that field of view? I am not. Okay, let's fix that. Up. Let's see. I was in the field of view. Now I'm not. I lost this altogether. Oh boy. I seem to have misplaced Jupiter. So I'm going to take you guys off of the telescope there for a moment. How did I lose a whole planet, you guys? I would like to do some solar observing with you all. Of course, weather permitting. Maybe we'll do one of those in October. Why not? Huh. That's so weird. I can't get it focused. So sorry. I'm just going to put you guys down for a hot second. While I do some of my work here. Ah, there it goes. Down there in the corner. All right. Yeah, there we go. Much better. Okay. So I'll just mount you guys back up. Whoop. How did that happen? So weird. There we go. All right, there we go. Now we've got Jupiter. Ha ha. Very nice. All right. So I and you can see those 4 moons that are nice and nice in that field of view. Oh, Green Runner, what telescope are you getting? I'm always excited to talk about telescopes. Which one? And you can sort of make out the bands on Jupiter. Again, that image is not very crisp because Instagram Live does not allow me to adjust the white balance. But I wish it did, but it does not. I have to fight with it, unfortunately. Oh, nice. Okay. Were any of my family members into astronomy? I guess, they think it's cool. I'm definitely like the nerd at the family functions talking about, hey, have you guys looked at the moon lately? But I guess more like in passing. I suppose they enjoy looking at the stars. I don't know if any of them are as in depth as I am. Oh no. Oh, my hand got caught on the wire. Uh-oh. There we go. Yeah, I am for sure the nerd at every family gathering of hey, did you guys take a look at did you guys see this eclipse? Did you see this photo? Did you see that photo? Yeah, that's me. I try to keep a lid on it. I try not to be as insufferable as I feel like I'm coming off, but yeah, I'm definitely the nerd at the family functions. So yeah, I did want to thank you all for coming out because I got about 5 more minutes on this thing. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you happen to see any events posted on Facebook, just make sure that you are on the Kuiper Cat Astronomy page and not on some random page that you may see. Because if it's not my page, then it's definitely fake. You would be surprised about people not getting excited about what's above them. You would be super, super surprised. There are some times when I do these events in public, and some folks will they'll look at Jupiter, for example, right? And they'll say, "Oh, that's it?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's it? Are you kidding me? Jupiter's 11 times the size of our planet. Like, what do you mean, oh, that's it?" But everyone gets super excited about Saturn, so I guess that makes up for it. You guys are very, very welcome. Thank you all for tuning in. I will see you all September 26th. I believe it is at 8:30. I do have to double check, but I believe it's around 8:30 p.m. Yeah, I do that too. Sometimes I do get up in the middle of the night to look up eclipses, or if you guys all remember, back in July when we had Comet Neowise. Yeah, I was staying up all night for that. I think I finally went to bed around 5 in the morning. So I went to bed as the sun was coming up. Yeah, this is definitely a hobby for night owls. So thank you again. I keep saying thank you. No, but thank you all again for tuning in. I will see you all at the end of the month. And maybe sometime in between, if we can get lucky with some sunspots, I will definitely. It'll be super short notice, but I will definitely be hosting an Instagram live, and I'll try to give you guys all maybe like a 5-hour heads up or something. But yeah, if we can get some lucky, fingers crossed, I would love to do a solar event with you all. But yeah, we'll see. So, have a good night, you guys. Keep washing your hands, keep wearing your masks, keep social distancing, and keep looking up.